Yes. Say, man, for those select few that are already initiated, you should already know what's coming next. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. Shit, we're gonna get to that other shit in a minute. But first, what I'm trying to get everybody to understand is that everything is vibration. So before we do anything else, just vibe. See, it's about that time to put some flame to that motherfucker if you fuck around. And if you don't, I respect that. But see, what I need you to do either way is just open up your ear and let me crawl into your mind. One time. Yeah, you fucking with the right one. Maybe not tonight. The solar system ain't never been this cool. Far out, man. And you ain't gotta tell me. When I was 4 years old, my mother's side of the family went to an Episcopal church. And so the preacher was walking around with the microphone in his hand. And my daddy and my mama tell this story. One day he walked by me and I snatched the mic. And I said, everybody in the church, put your motherfucking hands up. That's energy. That's a vibe. It's gotta be in you and not on you. And some will never understand that. All night. What it was, y'all. Y'all know who it is. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge of Self. And this right here, this ain't shit but some cosmic insight, man. Insight. I hope everybody feeling good. Everybody vibing right. Because now it's time to go deep. And what I mean by that, pardon me, is this right here. This a little something about those people that have Neptune in the 8th house of their natal chart. Yeah, by request. And you ask for it, be careful what you wish for, okay? So, before I actually get into that, if y'all don't know my style, what I'm going to do first is, I'm going to bring y'all a little information as to what Neptune is in astrology. I'm going to bring y'all a little bit of information on what the energy it comes along with it and how it might affect you. Then after that, I'm going to talk about the 8th house of the astrological chart, you know, in a nutshell. Then after that, you know, we're going to make it climax. So that's my favorite part. So without any more bullshit, let's get it cracking. So Neptune. Neptune is named after the Roman god of the sea, and it's the modern ruler over the sign of Pisces and the 12th house of the astrological chart. But say, man, I'm always going to advise y'all that if you're dealing with a Vedic astrologer or you're dealing with a traditional astrologer, they are not going to say that Neptune rules the 12th house or the sign of Pisces. They're going to say that Jupiter rules Neptune in the sign of, rules the 12th house in the sign of Pisces. Pardon me. Got tongue twisted there. And let me tell you this. A lot of people also are going to tell you that Neptune is actually considered the higher octave of Venus. And that's because it's all about compassionate acceptance and unconditional love of all that is. Okay. And Neptune, along with Uranus and Pluto, is what I call a transpersonal planet. And that's because it takes us into realms that really are well beyond logical and rational understanding. And in this case, Neptune connects us with the divine. Okay. And, you know, it's the planet of inspiration. It's the planet of dreams. Pardon me. It's the planet of illusions. It's the planet of fantasies. It's the planet of, you know, intensifying our sensitivity and our intuition, but also it could cloud our perception of reality, you know, whatever that is. And also, you know, it deepens our compassion. And that's if you allow it to, at least. And it relates to photography. Neptune relates to film. It relates to dance, music, painting, poetry, and all those beautiful things, man. And it also rules over drugs, both those that have the power to heal us and those that have the power to, you know, alter our sense of reality, whatever that is. And yeah, I'm going to keep saying that because I like saying it. So, I will. And let me also tell you that Neptune takes about 165 years to traverse the whole zodiac. And so it spends about 14 years in each sign. So this is definitely a generational planet. And so it's going to come across a little similarly to those people, for all those people born in that 14 years time span. For instance, I was born in the Neptune and Capricorn generation, you know, where mine is in the 3rd house. And when we're talking about houses, that's when it comes much more personal. And that's what we're going to talk about. Okay. Because, you know, I'm talking about getting personal. You know, the 8th house ain't as personal as it gets, but we'll get to that in a minute. And also, you know, let me say that the house placement, it can tell us what area of life there might be idealistic tendencies, where there might be artistic tendencies, as well as, you know, where there might be some delusion going on, or, you know, where there might be this urge to escape reality, you know, whatever that is. And when we're talking about the aspects, that really shows what other areas of life are affected by our dreams, and, you know, where we might be divinely gifted, or also where we might not be seeing things as clearly. Hey, this one is vast as the deep blue sea, y'all. Pun intended. And when we're talking about the 8th house, yeah, you know, the 8th house is ruled by Scorpio and the planet Pluto, and Mars to a lesser degree. And it's a mysterious sector that rules over birth, death, sex, transformation, mysteries, and merged energies, you know what I'm saying? And bonding at the deepest level, okay? And we all know what that could mean. And it's also the house of other people's money and property. And traditionally, it's been called the house of sex, death, taxes, secrets, and power. And I ain't against that at all. This is the home of the taboo, y'all. And it's the place of hidden mysteries, pardon me. And the biggest of which is that final transformation that we all must go through. Okay? Death. Yeah. And it's here where we find the deepest emotional wells and the secrets of the soul that kind of unfold throughout a lifetime. And a big part of the reason that this is so feared is because of its power to end our old way of being. And the 8th really involves the soul level changes that we go through throughout an existence, and the many deaths or transformations, you know, that are played out by whatever signs on the cusp and whatever planetary placements are here. Okay. And it's also about compulsion, obsessions, and primal entanglements. And let me tell y'all something. In Latin, the orgasm is known as le petit morti, or the little death. And that's because it's a surrender to the primal energies. And in that moment, we are more than body. And so accordingly, that's why both sex and death are connected here too. And there's so much more than that. But, you know, that's the basic gist here, y'all. And so when we're talking about having Neptune in the 8th house, let me tell you, man, that, you know, there's no bones about it. This is one of the deepest, one of the most intense, and the really most sexy placements that there are. But the main thing it does tell me when I see this in a chart is that I'm dealing with an individual that, you know, has really deep emotions, who probably kind of intuitively understands, you know, a lot of the great mysteries of life. And that's real. But at the same time, the house Neptune is in usually also, shows where we could be seeing some imbalances and confusion. So what I also see is a person who probably gives infinitely more than they receive in the way of intimacy. And, that a lot of the time is caused by the fact that, 8th house Neptune motherfuckers want their soul to merge completely with a motherfucker. And a lot of times a person's not willing to give in to that much vulnerability, man. And, cause you have to understand Neptune has no boundaries. It really doesn't. And so there's probably potential for them to lose themselves completely in a relationship or an intimate experience to the point, where there's no return, man. And of course, the aspects are going to be really key here too, because a harmonious Neptune really suggests that they can experience connections with the motherfucking divine through intimate encounters. Okay. And however, the more challenging aspects suggest, that there's probably going to be some self-deception and being attracted to motherfuckers who take advantage of them by, working that thing. And with this particular placement, man, I just gotta be honest, getting pussy whooped or getting dickmatized, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. Then Neptune's illusions start making, red flags start to look like green lights to him, man, which is unfortunately, gets him into some of the most fucked up, nasty, and sometimes even deadly entanglements that you could ever even imagine with this one, man. In some cases, pardon me, this one suggests a person who might be, involved in pornography, pimping, prostitution, those kinds of things, you could really see some exotic dancers with this one too. And probably some of the best of them, to be honest. And I love it. I love all my people. Okay. And, on another note, man, let me say this, man. This one here also represents a motherfucker who, has the motion of the ocean. Okay. Real talk. When it comes to getting it in, man, this is somebody that could really bring, sexual healing. Cause in those experiences, they're coming to heal you and they're going to heal you. And so they have to learn without having those boundaries and with having this power in this way that it ain't for everybody. It can't be for everybody. Not that. But moving on though, don't forget that the 8th is also about joint resources. Okay. So these people are going to need to be extremely careful about who they let in on their financial situation because motherfuckers are going to be out to win at their expense, man. So if a motherfucker comes at you, trying to, get you to put in on some shit, never do that. Never do that if you have this placement, man. And at least you should always think twice. I'm going to tell you that. And this one also indicates a partner who probably is either spending too much money or, lying about something that could probably fuck up y'all's whole financial situation. So in this case, this one can be a motherfucker, man. And lastly, let me say that, having Neptune in the 8th, it usually indicates a person who is much more in touch with their unconscious than your average person ever could be, man. This one is another strong indicator of psychic abilities and a deep understanding of the occult. And, those with these people have this, strong intuition, let me say that could easily, be in tune with things that probably transcend the boundaries of this physical existence easily. Okay. And hell, if you're watching this and you have this placement, man, this motherfucker right here might be the very reason that you're into astrology, man, in the first place. All BS aside. Okay. And most of all, there's something about the mystery of what happens after we die that, has always called to these individuals and what makes them, kind of uncomfortable so much that they obsess about it in secrecy. Okay. And another thing, 8th house Neptune people, man, they often have extremely vivid dreams, which, you know, is not a coincidence. I'm gonna be honest. And a lot of times, you know, they can make it, that shit can make shit a lot more confusing. Pardon me. But what they got to understand is that through these dreams, you know, they can really tap into their unconscious. So, and then manifest that into their waking reality. They have that power. This is something that they can do, man. You know, so keeping a dream journal and doing something, you know, to sort out those experiences that they're having on that other plane when they're asleep, you know, will probably be really essential for those with this placement. And I'm also going to say that getting enough sleep is another big one here. It's humongous. And, you know, that can be a motherfucker too sometimes, cause, you know, some of those with some of the more harsh or more challenging aspects here probably are going to be, you know, having insomnia or really terrifying vivid nightmares, sleep paralysis, night terrors, and all those type of things. So if you can find a way to just sort through that, I promise you'll be okay though. And it's going to be okay because either way, just cause you built like that, you don't have to build like that. You don't have to feed into the negativity. You don't have to let any planetary placement you have affect you in any way. It's not about what you do anyway. It's about how you do it. And once you understand that, I feel like you'll be all right. Hey, I appreciate all the love and support. There's been some priceless knowledge of self, man. If y'all are interested in the astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below or email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. Hey, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you can be notified when I drop some new shit. If you're interested in donating to the cause, man, the link is in the description below. Don't ever forget that I'm more fly than every other astrology you probably never met. And I'll be on point too. So until we meet again, my friends, keep it real.